Hi, I'm Monica Novo. Welcome to Canvas, a podcast where every episode is a fresh canvas. We dive into stories that make you pause, conversations that open your perspective, and the ideas influencing art, lifestyle, entertainment, architecture, and the way we connect as humans. Together, we look beyond the surface into the moments, the places, and the people quietly shaping how the world moves and why we keep evolving. Welcome back to Canvas with Novo Collective, where we explore the intersection of real estate, design, culture, and the people shaping how we experience it all. Today's episode is a special one for me. My guest is someone who I've known for 20 years. We go all the way back to our Corcoran days, long before hashtags, before personal brands was a strategy, and before real estate became the cultural conversation it is today. Now he is the head of PR at Douglas Elliman, one of the most influential voices behind how this industry is seen, perceived, and talked about. Stephen Larkin isn't just part of the story. He helps shape it. And today we're pulling back the curtain just a bit on power, perception, and what it really takes to stay relevant in a market that is constantly evolving. Stephen, welcome to Canvas.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
It is my pleasure. How was your weekend?
I had a nice weekend. I was in the city. I went to Brooklyn to the store that I've been dying to go to called Cabin Modern on Atlantic Avenue.
I've never heard of that.
It's like a cute little mid-century kind of shop that I follow online that I've been trying to get out to for like a year and finally did. I didn't buy anything because, of course, I didn't have anything I wanted that day. Then I took myself to brunch at the Montague Diner.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't been to that either.
Good.
Go figure. Counter. And I live only like 10 minutes away from there.
Yeah. Sat at the counter, had brunch. I went to see a movie called The Christophers with Sir Ian McKellen. I highly recommend it.
Really? Okay.
I went to the gym. I enjoyed the weather. I took my dog on long walks. It was great. It was like a really great New York spring weekend.
Mac the terrorist.
Mac the terrorist. Mac the terrorist.
That's for another story.
Another time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were literally in Tegan's neighborhood.
I was.
He's like down the street from there. I'm surprised you didn't reach out to him, see if he wanted to.
Well, hang on. Give the kid a break on weekends.
He's no kid anymore. He's hitting 25 this year. I can't believe it. That's insane. But all right, getting down to it. A couple of things I wanted to ask. I mean, you and I have been friends for a very long time. I mean, north of 20 years.
I remember the day I met you.
Oh, please do tell.
We were both working at the Corcoran Group. I was director of public relations, and I was on the 18th floor visiting Alfred Renna or Joanne Douglas or someone like that. Mm-hmm. And up comes Lauren Muss to her office, which she shared with Donna and Joanne. And with her was this vision of like Brooklyn realness, sunglasses, long feathered hair, attitude. And I was like, I want to get to know this woman.
Oh my God.
And so Lauren, of course, introduces us, and you were doing a deal with Busta Rhymes, like literally like in real time. I was like, oh my God. Like,
oh my God.
And I was like, we have got to talk. And I think that's when you came back to Corcoran.
Yeah. At that time, I had my own company.
Okay.
Which was Novo Realty Group. And I remember, he worked in the office with Ellen. Anyways, there was an agent that I used to do a lot of deals mm-hmm. with. And he said, Monica, why are you with your own company? Why are you doing your own thing when ultimately you're doing all the deals with Corcoran? Why have the overhead? Why continue, having to deal with all the stress and pressures of having your own company mm-hmm. when you're doing it already with us? Mm-hmm. Come join us. So he had me meet with Ellen, and Ellen and I hit it off. She could be a little persnickety, but she was great.
Love Ellen, yeah.
Absolutely. And she's like, yeah, you should. Came over, started working in the village office when we were on 10th Street. Mm-hmm. A beautiful little office, mm-hmm. very charming. And the rest is history. Then mm-hmm. Pam and Trisha Cole was doing new development. Yep. They're like, you should really come and work in new development. And it was just Corcoran Group marketing at the time. There wasn't really, they had great projects, but that's how it kind of went into the whole realm. And then because I was doing development projects, Corcoran at the time did not allow agents to work resale business as well as while they're doing projects. That's what happened. So I ended up partnering with Lauren, who till this day, she will say she is the original work wife.
That's how I see her. 100%. I mean, there's others, Maria.
Well, Maria Babayev is the current work wife, and she will always be the one and only work wife.
But the wife we love the most is Stacy.
Oh, my heart.
Mine too. What a great, great woman.
She's an amazing soul.
You guys are a great couple.
Thank you. I am blessed to have her. We're coming up on our 22nd anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really it's an interesting life we've gone. We've gone from Corcoran to Elliman to a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, from where I sit, really in the center of the culture, between real estate and restaurants. I mean, cafeteria and Empire. I mean, these are iconic places in New York. You're really, running them. So
that is definitely 100% all my wife. Mm-hmm. She is the brains, the brawn, the brilliance, the creativity behind it. She's got an amazing team that support her. And she's been, over the years, been able to, I don't want to say give up the reins, but just not be the one that's constantly micromanaging. Right. She's been able to peel back a little and let people kind of take the reins. Mm-hmm. But so storytelling is a big thing about PR, right? So when we came up in a time where reputations were earned at a table, not online. Mm-hmm. Now people are trying to see how this industry can tell their story in a little bit more of a vivid manner. Real estate today has mastered the art of storytelling. And I think that's really an homage to you, because this is your job to kind of tell that story for the agent. Mm-hmm. What's the difference? How do you see what we did 20 years ago when it wasn't hashtags and social media to today?
I think that's an interesting question. I think storytelling has always been at the forefront of real estate. Even going back to the start of the industry, it sort of started in the salons, right? Like the dinner parties that Alice Mason used to host, right? With her agents Alice and people Mason. Like, Woody Allen. And it was very private. It was very discreet. Agents did not talk about their business, their sales. Everything was really kind of kept hush hush. Mm-hmm. Now, I came from journalism, television news. I worked in TV. I never worked in PR. I always had contempt for publicists, in fact, because to me, they got in the way of a good story. So when, Barbara Corcoran and Pam Lehman and Scott Durkin tapped me to come to Corcoran, I was working for Inside Edition, this really successful tabloid news magazine, to come work in PR and to run PR for the Corcoran Group, because they felt like real estate was ready for prime time. And this is back in 2001. They were really thinking this is interesting. This industry, these people, these properties, the agents, the clients, and Barbara, of course, is the one that really blew the lid on market reports, talking about what people were selling their properties for, or collecting all that data and printing it. It wasn't always the most accurate data, because she had a lot of resistance from other brokerages.
Well, it's very difficult because everybody was very close vested, like you said, with their information.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think we're having a full circle moment, which we can kind of get back to, hoarding listings, which is sort of what's happening in the industry today. Yeah. But Barbara really saw, an opportunity for sellers to make more money, for buyers to have more opportunity in the marketplace, for agents to make more money. But you had to sort of, break away from this old boys club, which ran the buildings, ran the business. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get in to see a lot of buildings up and down Park and Fifth unless Edward Cave was personally bringing you in, and forget the other brokers that are even representing you. So it was really an interesting time. And the mediums have just changed, right? In 2001, we were telling our stories in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post and the Daily News, the Financial Times, et cetera. Television was sort of creeping in. Open House New York was starting.
Mm-hmm, I remember that.
Trish Hall was the editor of the New York Times real estate section at the time. She had brought in to sort of rehaul it. Mm-hmm. And she really made it interesting, a little more consumer oriented, people oriented, culturally oriented. She was fantastic, a fantastic, fantastic editor. And we had a real opportunity to kind of get in front of our customers that way. So today, fast forward, with the advent of social media, it's just another medium. It's a more prolific, more kind of platform that we can control.
Mhm.
Agents can control it, brands can control it, but ultimately it's just another platform for storytelling. And I came again from television news. I had never worked in PR. I saw the PR department then, as I do now here at Elliman, as a newsroom, right? So my
Well, it
team
is.
and me, like, we are out there hunting stories down from our agents, from our markets, and that's how we communicate with reporters. We say, hey, there's this interesting trend happening, in Brooklyn, or there's this interesting migration pattern happening in, Southern California or Texas, Florida, like whatever the case may be. And we bring those stories and we pitch reporters and editors as if we work for them, of course, protecting the brand. And social media has just allowed us to amplify all that messaging in a way that is bigger,
Mhm.
larger, more hands-on, more controlling. So
Well, that's
you can
the
control
thing.
how you present yourself.
That's
Right.
the key thing, because before it was easier for you to tell the story and it
Mhm.
gets written in print
Right.
and readers are reading it. Where today you are putting in print, but you're also video social,
Yeah.
where people are actually seeing, and things today. I don't want to get into the whole subject of AI, but AI is absolutely contorting
Mhm.
a lot of truths that you see in today's social media.
Yes.
And that can happen also with real estate, how you
Oh, yeah.
present things and how things are published
Mhm.
to the public.
Absolutely.
In the end, that's a whole other
Yeah.
subject.
Listen, credibility, at the end of the day, credibility is really important here. So, how an agent presents themselves or presents their properties, whether they're using AI or not, even the way we sort of like airbrush our faces, you don't want to show up to a meeting looking vastly different than what people saw online.
Well, that's the problem.
Do you know what I mean?
But that is the problem. Listen,
That immediately says to a person, okay, this person is like not real.
it shows your dishonesty.
Yes.
The reality is you are who you are. And look, we all want to. We all want to look a little younger. We all want to look a little smoother in our face, the little lines. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I have no problem with, having a little crow's feet on my eyes, or
Mhm.
little laugh lines, which
Right.
they do annoy me a little bit. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if I'm going to touch something up, is if I have a little blemish that's coming
Sure,
out.
of course, yeah.
Those are the things that you do.
But not the people, but the properties, right? Like if you're presenting
But it's
a
everything.
property online,
If you're doing it to yourself, you're going to do it to a property.
if you're presenting a property as looking pristine online and not saying that this is AI generated and showing what the real thing looks like, then you're setting people up for disappointment.
Yeah, I think that's
got to be clear about like what you're doing here.
That's definitely something that's a little difficult to do nowadays. Yeah. But yeah, you can drop in an empty photo in ChatGPT and tell it to virtually stage it.
Yeah.
And boom, magically you've got this beautiful setting done. Yeah. But you have to have those disclaimers. Everything.
The key is to do it in a way that reveals what it could look like. Here it is now.
Correct.
AI has this great tool where you can kind of bring that property to life in a beautifully designed, way. And I think that's a good tool.
But it gives a vision.
AI.
It gives that vision, like you said.
Which people need.
Absolutely. So again, I think we're kind of leading into the next question, which is kind of like the perception, brand brokers, media, what one misconception people have about how deals, developments, and agents how do they become headline worthy?
Sure. Listen, you become headline worthy when you've achieved something pretty monumentous, right? Or monumental.
What do you categorize? How does Douglas Elliman categorize that monumental moment?
Give
me one example.
A record-breaking deal.
Okay.
A significant deal. A deal that represents or showcases how Elliman works or how we want our agents to work. We have an agent who...
Give us an example.
I'll give you an example.
I'm happy to give somebody a shout out.
Mary Beth Adelson.
Okay.
Right? Great longtime Elliman broker, consistent business, just sold a $45 million penthouse in Miami.
Wow.
Client.
Okay.
Amazing. She tapped into the Elliman network. She really listened to her client, who originally wanted Palm Beach, heard that they probably wanted something a little bit more exciting, found a beautiful condominium, the Rivage in Miami, brought her to see it, and they bought it. Now, this is using the leadership at the company, Jay Parker, Michael Leibowitz, right? We're able to help her sort of like get in there, see it, make the offer. That was the right time. It was like all timing. But she tapped into the Elliman network. Now, at Elliman, we have this new development portfolio that a lot of our agents aren't understanding is it's a huge moneymaker for them. It's a huge opportunity. Like you might sell real estate in Huntington, Long Island, right? But you have the capability of being an advisor for your clients who might want to invest in Texas new development, in Florida new development, in California, in Nevada new development. To sit there and only worry about what's happening in Huntington is a miss, and you're leaving money on the table. And worse than that, you're doing a disservice to your clients who could look to you for information, guidance on investing their money in other places. And by the way, they might have kids moving to Texas for college. They want to buy them an apartment there, or Florida, or they're moving to New York and they want to buy, a condominium here. So the kids goes to NYU or Fordham or Columbia. And I will have agents, for example, like we love to brag when an agent joins Elliman. It's a really proud moment for us. And I've had agents sort of say to me, like, why do I care if an agent joins us in the California wine country? Or why do I care if an agent joins? It's hugely important.
Who doesn't like wine?
Well, who doesn't like wine? But who doesn't maybe know somebody that's interested in buying a second or third or fourth home in Napa Valley? Who doesn't have somebody who may have a business reason to own a pied-à-terre here in New York City, right? So to know who the agents are that are coming to the company in new regions, to connect with them in a way, we try to build affinity between the agents, is really doing a disservice to yourself and to your clients. You've got to tap into that part of the business where you are serving as an advisor to your clients so that they are making smart, informed decisions, and you're helping them make money at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that over the years I have seen agents not utilizing what a company has to offer.
Right.
The fact that before we had Knight Frank, now we have our own international division that we are in the process of growing, which it's moving along. But agents used to say, well, how do I do this? I have a client that's looking to buy something in London. Well, you ask. You ask the powers that be and the people that are involved in the international division. I have a client. They're looking for this. How could I also still be involved? Because I don't want my client to feel that I am just pawning them off to someone else. Right. And then maybe that agent in London or whatever part of the UK is not doing their job if I'm not involved, or I'm able to spearhead or help if there's a hiccup that comes about. There has to be a way. And I think the company has a training program. It also should have an informational program. It should be where there are seminars done where agents know what the company has to offer. I know when we did Vegas, there was a big part of that was told to agents, and there were agents that didn't know. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do this or I can do that. And it's really about communication. I know we've always been very, very forward about our communication internally. And I think agents need to start listening. Because like you said, they are leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table. They're not realizing, like you said, their client might have a child who's moving to California or Texas or Boston. It's going to be going to college up there. You can find a place. I mean, listen, Maria Babayev, her daughter went to Tulane. Right. What did Maria do?
She bought a house.
She bought a place in New Orleans. And she was able to use it, and she collected rent from the other roommates. It's an investment. Now, not every agent can do that, but you have to look at how you can garner those relationships and how you can expand. And a lot of agents don't do that. So it's a shame. And hopefully we could, as a whole, maybe you and I and Michael and Jay and everybody else, the amazing powers that are in this company, Susan DeFranza, all be able to maybe sit down and do some talks with agents and not just town halls. It's really about...
It's pretty easy. Call me, or call Michael and say, hey, Nicole in Nantucket, one of our great agents on Nantucket, is heading to LA in a few weeks. And she emailed me last night. She said, who can I meet with when I'm there? So I gave her a bunch of names. I'm going to do email introductions today. This is a big part of our job at Elliman. And by the way, this is one of the great things about Elliman, is that we're the right size, that leadership can still do this. Your managers, the C-suite, whoever can work with an agent, no matter who you are. If you're telling us that you're going to a market and you want to sort of get to know some agents so you can start building a referral network, we will hook you up. We will, we get the great thing about Elliman, we can really get to know the agent, who they are, what they are, their style, how they work, and we can really make the right connections so that you're working with the kind of person that we think you want to work with.
Of course, listen, there's always that dichotomy between each agent and what client's going to work with what agent. So you have to really know how to put that marriage together. You know, you can't just say, oh, go work with this person, or go work with that person. That doesn't, it doesn't always mesh in a good way.
Yeah. And you said something else interesting before about not just passing the client off to a referral.
Correct.
I think a true advisor stays with that client through every step of the way, even if they're not licensed in that market. Beginning to end, because nobody knows that client better than you, right?
Correct.
Hopefully. And by passing them off, it's a bit of a disservice. Getting on a plane,
they feel neglected.
And flying to London or flying down to Miami is such a great investment of your time, because that client is going to remember that. You're going to be able to help coach the agent who's licensed in that market to like how to work with the client. You know, really, like, they become almost just the licensee who's able to sort of execute the deal for you. But you should be in the driver's seat with that relationship every step of the way.
I did a talk for a week or so ago for Christina in our Mid-Atlantic division. And it was one of the things I said to the agents, it was a Zoom, that you have to invest in yourself to be able to treat your client to the 100%. Best 100% caliber. I mean, they require pristine effort on your part. And if you're not willing to invest in yourself, to take a trip, meet with them, meet new people, have the knowledge, because let me tell you, in the 39 years I've been doing this, I still learn something new every day. Yeah. I'm the old dog here. Yep. There are new young pups in this industry that are learning something faster than I am. So I love taking advice or listening to them or reaching out to younger agents, like from Jay Chan, Jess Chesler, Ben. There's so many amazing young agents that bring something new to the table for us.
I think one of the biggest keys to success is remaining teachable. Always be green, always be teachable. You never know where you're going to learn something. I tell that to my team. And that's one thing I love about Michael Leibowitz, actually. He's always challenging us to learn something new, or to do something new, or to try something new.
Yeah.
If it breaks, if you make a mistake along the way, that's fine. But to be open to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of doing things is actually, to me, like the most important key to success.
I agree with you 100%. So having watched each other grow in our industries, from Corcoran to Elliman, what do you think separates the agents who become a brand versus just staying a transactional agent?
Well, it's interesting. There's a couple ways to look at that, because you have agents who just remain transactional and they sort of, maybe they're content that way. I think this business is fueled by people who are very entrepreneurial, who couldn't maybe work in corporate America per se.
Sure.
They are their own CEOs of their own business. And you can sit and you can, I hate the word stagnate, but you can stagnate at a certain level, and that's fine. Right. Sure. There are agents, but on the flip side of that, there are agents who obviously build tremendous brands around their teams, around themselves. They've got their own publicists, their own social media people. They've become influencers in their own right. I mean, our company is full of them from coast to coast, right? They have they've started television shows, right? Like, they become, brand endorsers, like, it becomes like a real thing for them. But you have other agents at this company who are wildly successful and have maintained a decade-long career with a height of success.
Of complete anonymity.
Because guess what? That's what their clients expect.
Yep.
Their client does not want their name in the New York Times, and they don't want their broker's name in the New York Times talking about their transactions.
What in your realm, because you have such an amazing team, what do you see a greater success? The agent with the anonymity or the agent with the brand?
It's...
Cat got your tongue.
Well, because I think it depends on what the agent wants,
Well, but I'm just saying, in successes that you see.
Because it's a lot of work to maintain a big brand. It's a lot of work, right? Maybe time that could be spent, doing deals or finding clients, right? Or building like a bigger network or sphere. I mean, creating like a piece of social content. I mean, there's memes now about this all over social media about agents who thought they were becoming real estate agents who are now like social media experts instead, right? God. So everything is execution and how well it's done, because the social, the PR, all of that can build to credibility, to brand recognition. But there are other agents who spend their time and money joining certain clubs or buying second homes in certain markets where they are sort of living amongst their spheres of influence, their target audience who they want to attract as buyers and sellers. So I just think there's no right or wrong way to do it. It just really depends on your personal style and who you're targeting. But again, like whether you are staying anonymous in your business as a very successful agent, or you're putting something way out there, way out there, it all depends on execution. And
it is mind blowing.
It is mind blowing. But if you're putting yourself out there, I mean, they say all PR is good PR. I don't believe that. I have seen good agents lose great listings because of a PR blunder or a social media blunder. And to me, that is not good PR.
No.
So you have got to be super, super careful in the execution and really think about like who's hearing what you're saying, you know? And to me, it's like the old adage about the cocktail party. What don't you talk about at a cocktail party? Sex, religion, and politics.
Yeah.
So some of the same on social. Right?
Yeah.
Just don't talk about those things. Stick to the real estate, stick to the lifestyle, stick to
your brand.
Value and to your brand, and then you should be fine.
I know. When I see, I definitely try to stay away from politics. It's,
but it's a big world.
But it is a big world.
And it's 50-50.
And I respect, listen, I always say I am Republican, fiscally responsible, Democrat, and everything else. But it becomes a little bit of a shit show.
Yeah. Why alienate yourself from business?
Exactly. Right. Because you know what? You don't know. I have to respect what other people believe and think. And
100%.
So, I mean, to each his own.
We want to be a civilized nation of people who respect each other. And that is the same in real estate, For
sure. But that's one of the reasons why I always say when whether it's a new client or a repeat client and they start talking, I'm like, I respect your beliefs. But I don't discuss politics.
That could be fun sometimes.
We could have a conversation. That is so funny. But yeah, I kind of stop and think sometimes how I've seen a lot of agents build these amazing brands. And it astounds me how much effort and time it must take. I mean, it's one thing you have your in-house PR. They hire separate PRs, publicists, social media people that follow them around and do videos and everything. It's like, who's doing the editing? Who's like pulling all this content together? I had lunch with Claudia and Mark last week. We had gone to the Ellie's breakfast in the morning. Afterwards, we went to the Waldorf, and we went downstairs to have lunch. And I said to her, I was like, Claudia, I really want to ask you because I look at your social and it's
every day.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
This woman.
It's amazing every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
There's nothing boring.
Sorry.
It's amazing how she does this every single day. And I know that she has this one girl who goes around and does the videos, but she's like, Monica, I do a lot. I'm on a city bike and I'm recording, I'm doing and hoping I don't fall off a bike, or I'm walking and I'm doing. Mark will do photos. And like I said to Mark, I said, clearly you've learned, she schooled you and trained you very well how to do all of this. But she does most of the editing. She'll put all the content together with this girl.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of the editing. And I'm like, what do you use? Like, there's got to be a program that it's almost like plug and play. But she's like, no, you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that, and you do this, and, finding the music. And I'm just flabbergasted at how amazing it is.
Like, you think there's an army of lighting technicians and audio guys and sound guys, but like Frederick Uckland does most of his content himself.
Well, all Frederick needs to do is
Frederick has just got his camera and he's shooting and he's posting. So it's amazing. Like if you do decide to go that route, and I do think social media is important. I think it's a calling card.
It is.
I think people are going to ask you, your potential sellers and are going to ask you like, well, are you on Instagram? Even if they don't know what that means, right? But I think a lot of people would be surprised at how, like, with a little bit of practice, and trial and error, you can become your own great sort of social media person.
That's true. Speaking of Frederick, I have to give it to him. This man, he's like turning like Benjamin Button and reverse aging.
Yeah.
Of course, laser, PRP, all these. No, he doesn't. He's very vocal about what he does. He is. I'm like, and I've known Frederick. Oh my God. I met Frederick long before he was in real estate. So
yeah, I met him I had my own consultancy for about 6 years, and core group marketing was my client, and Frederick was like their rising star.
Yeah.
So I got to know him and John before they were even partners.
Oh,
And they
John.
were sort of dancing around together,
Yeah.
to maybe like do some deals, and they were thinking about partnering. And then, of course, the story.
And the rest is
Yeah.
history. I know. John and I go way back also.
To Balthazar.
Balthazar days, yes.
It is amazing how many people in this industry in real estate come from the service hospitality, because I think, and even a lot of very successful agents were flight attendants. I think there's something.
was a flight
Dennis
attendant?
Mangone.
Dennis was a flight attendant?
Yeah. Teresa Hall, Patricia Palermo at corporate. I think it's about service, making people like really understanding service and how to like make high net worth people feel good, and safety, making them feel comfortable. Right.
Yeah.
That's a really, I think, important skill set to have in this industry.
Sales, you either have it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to
Yeah.
teach someone to be a true salesperson.
100%. Yeah.
And when you have agents or people come to me and say, "Oh, Monica, so I was like really thinking about getting into real estate, and what could you advise me, and like, can you mentor me?" And I'm like, "Can you do this, 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 or this?" And start giving them examples of like, or sell me. You know what? Jordan Belfort said it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Sell me this pen.
Mm-hmm.
If you could sell me this pen, and
You're
I want to
hired.
buy this pen from you, you're hired.
Yeah.
Any of that, any kind of sales industry,
Mm-hmm.
you can do real estate.
Yeah. I remember when Ben Dixon came onto the scene. First of all, he was smart. He partnered with a really
With Matthew.
well-known, experienced, solid broker. And actually, I remember in that partnership, he brought a lot of skills or a lot of ideas to that partnership. Because Matthew was one of those just brokers who really stayed under the radar.
Yes.
Did his business, did it really well, wasn't looking for fanfare. Ben saw an opportunity for them to grow even more with more PR, with more social, with more networking, hosting events, putting themselves out there in the sort of larger sort of sphere.
Well, Ben also, like he said, I didn't know a lot of what you needed to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had clients and I had the knowledge analytically, but he learned things from Matthew that I remember he says in our podcast, a pitch that he went to where the client asked something and he goes, "I would have never known how to respond to that." And Matthew just effortlessly just rambled it off. And it was like, and he was like, "Okay, like I get this now."
Yeah.
So he really took the time and energy to being a sponge and absorbing everything he could and utilizing the knowledge that he had and crossing it over with sales. Mm-hmm. And Ben's very successful. He does fantastic. He does amazing. He just put on this beautiful listing in Shelter Island.
I heard about that.
We went to go, Stacey and I went to go see it on Saturday, and it's stunning. Mm-hmm. Everything about this house is stunning. It shouldn't be in Shelter Island, actually. Mm-hmm. It's priced at $5.5 million, which I think is probably on target for what it is. And but he's definitely on a great path. And now that he started his own team, I think he's even that much more successful.
Yeah, we're really proud of him.
For sure. So let's not be a little diplomatic for a second here.
I better have some water for this.
Who actually runs the show right now? The brokerage, the broker, or the algorithm?
Michael Leibowitz, our CEO. But I know what you're asking, and it's an interesting question, and I think it's evolved over time. I think when I started, the brokerage ran the show for sure. And let's legally, brokers work for the brokerage, right? Their licenses with us.
Correct.
The broker works for the brokerage. But that's a technicality. Culturally, and I'll speak for Elliman, we work for the agent. 100%. This is our daily mantra. We are of service to the agents. The agent is our client. The buyers and the sellers and the renters, the developers, right? Those relationships belong to the agent. The client is the agent. So every single day, and I tell this to my team, everything we do is done through the lens of retention. Making our agents feel seen, feel heard, feel happy, feel well-serviced. So yes, we want to help you sell property by featuring that listing in the Financial Times or the Wall Street Journal or on Open House New York. We want to help build your credibility by getting you quoted in said publication or on a panel or a podcast. And yes, we want to help you win listings, right? By sort of showing like how we do our work for the listings. But ultimately it's about, does this make you feel happy? Does this make you feel like you can't get this anywhere else? So in that sense, we work for the agent every single day. We work for the agent. So the agent does yield a lot of influence, and I don't like the word power per se, but influence on how we operate. Agents are really smart, hardworking people. They have great ideas. Like I remember, like I said, like you got to be teachable.
Yes.
Sometimes the best ideas that we have come from the agent, because agents are sort of on the front line of the business. It's boots on the ground. We're sort of like, tucked away in our little offices at 575 Madison, right?
Those are not.
We're not, I know,
but
but you guys are really like out there with the buyers and the sellers every single day, which is why, by the way, like I think our new development division is so successful, because we really incorporate agent knowledge and thought leadership into the pre-development of the program, because you guys really understand what buyers want, today and probably in 5 years too. You have sort of like a sense of like what's coming down the road. So it's actually probably it should be studied actually, because it's an incredible collaboration between the corporate and the agent. It's really unlike any other industry because, our sales force are they're independent contractors. It's like, you don't sell. You
don't make money.
You don't make money. We don't make money. So this is a mutually beneficial relationship where we try to provide the best in class services, whether it's technology or marketing or public relations, sales management, just so that the agent is free to do what they do best. Go out there, find their clients, find their buyers, and get deals done.
So, but it's interesting because most people, when they come to a company, they're coming from another company or starting in the business, or they've been successful, have their own business and merge with Elliman. There's this misconception that they want to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
They want, for them, it's about, what do you have for me?
Sure.
What development project can I be on? What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
I want. And it's interesting because I get, you say Elliman works for us as the agent, but the agent is demanding a lot because they do. And we know a lot of high power agents in the company that are still here and are no longer here that had that cherry, put it that way. They had that little sweet cherry that was, constantly being given, constantly put on development projects. How do you guys handle that?
Well, it's interesting.
Because you guys are the brokerage. We're the agents.
I think at the end,
development is development.
I think I'll speak for myself as well as a lot of my colleagues, including Michael Leibowitz. We like to help people. So, it's sort of like a giant game of whack-a-mole. Because one agent pops up with a request, we satisfy that request, then another agent pops up with another request. It could be similar to the last request, it may be completely different. It's service. This is a service industry, and we're in the business of servicing our agents. I don't see it as hard. I just see it as part of the job. I'm very ADHD. So if I can move from helping an agent in Florida to one in California, as far as referrals go, I think that's like a big sort of misnomer. It's a big kind of like, if referrals happen, at the end of the day, you have to give the referral to the right broker. You want that referring client to be happy with the service. So, as far as projects go, well, I think, Susan and Jay and Michael and Catherine in Texas, and Caitlin Chagan now in New York might recommend a qualified agent to be on a project. It's ultimately the developer's decision.
Of course.
So the developer will take recommendations from leadership to interview, but ultimately they're the ones making the decision. Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully the pipeline grows and hopefully there's more opportunity for agents to become more involved. We're trying to be creative in ways in which we can kind of attach more agents to the projects in meaningful ways, especially across market, as ambassadors. People are buying second, third, fourth, fifth homes around the world, frankly. Yeah. So if you have an agent in New York representing a project in Florida or Texas, or an agent in Texas representing projects from Florida, that's a win-win for everybody.
Well, I think also, and maybe this leads to the algorithm question, that agents, because of that cross-pollination, Florida, New York, Aspen, LA, all of that, I know if somebody says to me, Monica, can I repost your social, or, can you tag me and I'll repost? I'm like, absolutely. Sure. The more eyeballs get to see what I'm selling or what I'm marketing, absolutely. I love the guys in France. They tag me on a lot of things. I repost.
Yeah.
Jamé Shook in Aspen.
Yeah.
Anything, I'm like,
Yeah.
I repost. I am happy to have them repost whatever I do and for me to do whatever works for them.
And this establishes you as a global real estate advisor.
Well, it goes back to that previous question of an agent needs to know how to utilize the relationships that they have and the network within the company.
Yeah.
So then that's where I think, for me, I think that's where the algorithm comes in, where it really feeds to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of social media and the algorithm is what really sets apart that property, that agent, that company from everything else, where then you become that much more successful.
Yeah, the algorithm. I mean, that is one of the biggest challenges facing any industry today, is understanding where the algorithm is going. Because one day it's highly polished, overly produced videos. The next day it is more sort of gritty guerrilla type, videos that agents are shooting, from their phone. So,
but sometimes the rawness is a good thing.
Yeah. It just means you have to stay on top of your game. You've got to really pay attention to engagement. If one day highly produced videos are not getting a lot of likes or shares or comments, then to shift back to the grittier style.
I don't think you can see now how many likes there are.
You can turn off the likes if you want, so no one can see it.
Oh, I didn't know.
But the standard setting is that you can see them. Yeah. Yeah, but you can turn it off if you want.
I'm still trying to navigate social media.
But as the owner of the account, you can see insights to.
Well, you have the internal where you can see
and it's really important to pay attention to that and be able to pivot very quickly on social. You have to really pivot quickly.
I need to learn that as well. I mean, it
is. As a tip, on every Friday, the CEO of Instagram goes on live and he has a Q&A where you can ask him anything. And he gives great insights to the algorithm on that social. So
really,
check it out. And pay attention to that every Friday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We've watched a lot of people have their moments in business, then they disappear.
Yes. One-hit wonders.
From your seat, what real reason some people fade out? Is it ego, inconsistency, or was it just because they weren't good enough?
It's different things. I think one is burnout. I think some people just get tired of the grind. Business is a grind. I mean, no one's paying you unless you do a deal, right?
Exactly.
So you have to have a lot of grit. You have to have a really thick skin, because I think there's a lot of rejection in this business.
A tremendous amount.
Whether it's losing a listing, that getting a listing, losing a listing, sometimes to the broker down the hallway from you. You just have to get up every single day and get to it. And I've seen people come in a market that it's a really fluid market. Things are just happening quickly and, maybe kind of easily. I've seen people come in where, they're just born of the matter, so to speak. And they get like their father's best friend's, $40 million penthouse to sell. And then you never hear from them again. I think you have to it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Some people are really lucky out the gate, but it is definitely a marathon, and you have just got to stick to it. You've got to be teachable. You've got to understand who you are, what skill sets that you offer. You've got to really understand the types of buyers and sellers that you want to work with, and just go for it. And I've seen people, I mean, really, there's some huge success stories, in this industry and an element, people really who came into this with no connections, no network.
Tell us about one huge success at Element.
Gosh, there's actually a lot.
I'm sure. Pick one. I don't care. Let's give them a shout out.
There is a lot. Let's go. Okay. When she.
Okay.
Do you know when?
She's at
575.
Okay.
And when started as an assistant.
But she's also on the Greenwich Project.
The Greenwich Project.
Yes, I know her well.
Yep. So when young woman, she came from marketing. Okay, she worked in marketing before. She was an assistant on the Frank Katzen team. Cycled off the team, became her own agent. And within a couple of years, went from about 200,000 GCI to close to $1 million.
That's
in a few short years.
Amazing. Bravo, Wen.
And so and again, I don't know Gwen's personal life too well, but this is somebody who came into the company. She figured out who she needed to get to know. She figured out the value in new development, and she ingratiated herself to the people at the company and worked really smart, grew a tremendous resale business, like again, targeting her audience, utilizing the company, PR, marketing, sales management. So she hired a coach. She got to know the PR department. She got to know the marketing department, and she leaned in, like really, really leaned into the events. She networked. She got put on the Central, which was really helpful. And she did really, really well there. And that was a building that was, having some challenges. And she really came in and sold it.
I remember that building.
Yeah. So she's a great example. Yeah. I mean, Frederick Uckland moved here from another country and became like the country's most successful real estate broker.
But Frederick also visually handsome.
Yeah.
Dynamic, smart.
Yeah, that all helps.
Determined. Like there's a lot. When you look at people, I mean, everybody has their superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's Jonathan Stein is another great example. Jonathan Stein came from Grant Harris Stevens, sort of an unknown entity there.
Yeah.
Like the press didn't really know who he was. A lot of colleagues didn't know him that well. Came here and just with our machine, we just put him on the map.
Well, he's also handsome. I remember when I first met Jonathan, I was working on Gramercy Square.
Hardworking,
very, very,
and a
very
nice guy.
And invests in himself, in his team, 100%. In his clients. Yeah. He is so well-rounded in every possible way. And he's just a joy. You meet him and he's just kind and smiling. No matter what's going on in his life, he is always has a smile on his face.
100%, yeah.
And it's a joyous thing to have in this industry. All right. So in closing here, after everything you've seen, market shifting, brands evolving, people coming and going, what's the one thing you've learned in this business and about people that actually has stayed with you over the past 20 years?
Hard work pays off. Like really does pay off. It really, really does. I've heard this said before, you don't have to be the smartest person or the best looking person or the most connected person. You just have to come in here with like a dog with a bone, and you've got to set your sights high and work every single day to achieve those goals. And you'll do it.
Yeah.
I've met the most, this industry, for whatever anyone wants to say about it, like has embraced me, with all my, foibles and mistakes, etc.
We've all
had them. I think this industry is full of really smart, hardworking, energetic, and fun people, and kind. You've got a few here and there, but I think as a whole, like it's a creative industry, it's entrepreneurial, and it's exciting to be around. I think real estate is at the center of everything, whether it's finance or academia or even the church. I mean, real estate is the sort of foundation of everything. And so we get to sort of have our hands in that. And from a PR perspective, that's really exciting because we can really be part of many different kinds of conversations.
How do you see real estate in the next 10 years?
Wow. I think that the Compass Anywhere merger is significant. And I think agents, I think time will tell, but I think taking on $3 billion worth of debt and trying to become profitable with 340,000 agents and 9 different brands is a lot to manage. It'll be very interesting to see how well that can be executed. I think agents at those companies are losing a lot. They're losing leverage, influence.
Mm-hmm.
They're losing services, and they're losing the ability to pivot, which I think is important in this business,
But what leverage do you and services do you think that they're losing?
Once upon a time in New York City, there were 3 or 4 brands that are owned by one company where you could potentially like go to, and now you can't, right?
Well,
but I think that companies like ours, which are really dedicated to the luxury space, we do it really, really, really well. We still consider the agent the client. You can't do that with 340,000 agents. I don't care what anybody says. So I think there's going to be a a lot of agents will be fine with that model, but I think a lot of agents who are used to having more of a seat at the table
are not going to have that.
Are not going to have that.
They're not going to have
and they're
that.
not going to be happy.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So time will tell. We're already seeing it. I mean, the sort of incoming calls from agents is huge. We're getting a lot of calls from agents who are concerned. I think that some are have a wait and see kind of attitude, which is fine. Smart ones are getting out the door now before there's a mass exodus. But you're going to start seeing a lot of fundamental changes there that are going to impact the life of the agent.
That's interesting. Yeah, listen, I think
it has to.
There's no way that it's going to be status quo.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Right. And that might be okay for a certain level agent.
For sure.
But for a luxury agent who is transacting at the top of the market, you need a company that has your back. You need a company that can pivot with you. You need a company that can, at a minute's notice, get on a plane and pitch a big property in Malibu. Like we offer that. You
don't think even though Corcoran and Sotheby's are part of that Anywhere merger, that a company like Corcoran can do the same thing? I mean, Pam's pretty good about getting up and going and doing.
It's been 4 months.
I hear you, but even prior to that, Pam was able to do it. Pam is still doing it. Listen, you and I both know Pam for a long time, and I got to give her credit where credit is due. The woman is like,
formidable.
Well, 100%.
100%. Yeah.
So that's, I kind of see that Corcoran will probably stay within its own entity. I don't think so. I mean, people are saying, oh, they're going to roll into becoming Compass, so will Sotheby's. They are too big of a brand, and so is Corcoran Sunshine, to really get swallowed up into that one whole.
Yeah.
I think it would be the biggest mistake that Compass does if they do take the Corcoran brand away. That will be the biggest mistake. I think that will be their demise and downfall.
Listen, no one knows what's going to happen.
No one knows.
No one knows what's going to happen. So we could sit here and pontificate and sort of like theorize like what's going to happen. But, and everyone has to find a place in the industry. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone needs a home. But I think that from a luxury broker perspective, that a brokerage like Elliman, and there's others, are sort of a better choice, in terms of how you want to work and how you want to execute your business.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's a lot to be seen.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens look, we've already passed the first quarter of 2026, which is mind blowing that the year is going by so quickly. And we're seeing a good amount of traction in volume of sales, both resales as well as new development. I mean, new development's doing amazing.
The world is in flux.
Yeah.
The market is reacting every single day to that. But real estate has always been a safe haven. Like it's an asset that you live in. You touch, you feel, you sort of, it's not so volatile. You're not checking. And so it's a place where people have always wanted to put their money.
It's definitely that tangible asset that most people want to.
And everybody needs a place to live.
Yes, but also, and what I'm seeing more and more with clients and friends and family, that they're opting to cash out, sell their primary residence and rent.
Sure.
Because yes, you're paying a lot in rent, but it's still far cheaper than what you'd be paying in a mortgage.
Right.
In some instances.
Yeah.
But then they're taking that equity from their home and buying investment properties.
Sure.
So it's not necessarily what they're doing to live, to like buy to have a primary residence, because guess what? Primary residence is for your luxury and for your convenience. An investment property is going to put money in your pocket. So you're taking now your equity and you're pulling it out.
Passive income.
Yeah. It is in doing, and not necessarily, I'm not saying I have clients that are buying outside of New York. They're buying in Detroit. They're buying in Colorado. They're buying in other parts. In Nashville, they're buying in other states that they know the rental income is going to produce a great passive income for them. Yeah. And they're like, guess what? I don't have to worry about insurance. I don't have to worry about paying a maintenance. I don't have to worry about paying a mortgage. I don't have to worry about if something breaks that I have to pay to fix it. It falls on the landlord. All I got to do is just pay my rent.
Yep. And agents need to pivot, right?
Yes.
So if you're used to a buyer's market and you're working with buyers all the time, that's great. If it's a seller's market with sellers,
you have to have a balance of both.
You have to cover all of it.
Correct.
And be able to switch quickly.
Well, that was the one thing also I learned very quickly years ago. I mainly dealt with sellers. I was a seller's agent, through and through. Development, worked for sponsors through and through. And when the market crashed in 2008, that was an eye-opener for me. I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
Right.
I am in a situation that sales are like, yes, we had sales, but people were losing their shirt. They were losing everything at a loss of selling their properties. And some of them didn't want to. So now I'm trying to pivot, which is a good one, like you said, pivot to now deal with buyers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that I really worked with a lot. That was an eye opener.
And by the way, I think that's what those markets are a great training ground for agents. I would recommend you start this business in a down market because if you can master that and
you
navigate that,
you can do anything.
Then when the market's running high, then it's cake. The ebb and the flow, and you got to learn to ride the wave.
You have to know how
this business is up and it's down.
You can't be an order taker. It's not about like, oh, give me here. I'm buying, I'm doing. And then all of a sudden when it's time for you to sell it, and you're like, what do I do?
And you've got to stay the course.
100%.
And that's why, by the way, I mean, health and wellness, like taking care of your mind and your body through all of this is uber important because it can be stressful. I mean, it can be stressful. And knowing that this too shall pass is really, really important for an agent to do well in the business.
Well, agents tend to perseverate over things to a point of self-destruction.
That's a good word, perseverate.
But they do it to a point of self-destruction. And that is not good. You have to understand, don't count your coins until that deal has closed.
And pay your taxes and
everything.
Put that money aside.
Absolutely. Because it catches up to you. It really does.
We've seen that. And it's, hard to watch.
I just don't even bother. If it comes in, it comes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then you move from there.
Right.
But Stephen, this has been great.
Thank you so much. It's really fun.
I'm so glad that you decided to do this.
No, thank you for having me. It's kidding.
Of course. And everyone, I want to thank everyone for listening in. Stay tuned for next week and have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks for spending time with us on Canvas. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and follow the podcast on all platforms so you don't miss what's coming up next. We'll be back with a new conversation and a fresh perspective.